What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm the Pirate Princess, Rusty Graves, and with me as always, the Empress of Tomorrow. What's up, Lee?
Hi, Rusty. How you doing?
For those of you listening to the audio, Lee is now doing the Asuka Kabuki Warrior dance. And that alone means you should go to YouTube immediately and watch him do that. Because if there's one thing Lee's known for, it's definitely his dance skills.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Especially his Kabuki skills.
I even have a mask. Hold on. You carry it.
Are you serious? You have it looks like you've got a Drew McIntyre sword there right in the middle of the screen. I don't know. There's usually where you stand, so I don't know if I've ever noticed that you have what's her name? Is it Eleanor? What's Drew's sword's name? It's like his mother's name.
After his mother. Yeah, no, that's Andoril, forged from the shards of Narsil from Lord of the Rings, which we've already had people point out in the comments section for that. But hold on. Okay, now
I was about to say, Lee, we're bigger nerds. You're telling people that we're bigger nerds than we actually are.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm not, it's not that I'm the same level of nerd that I've always been. And
yeah, maybe I wrote it there wrong. Let's see what you got. You got a mask. Oh no, Roman's back. The Acknowledge Me Roman Reigns mask from Five Below. Can I just tell you, I have gone to Five Below just about every month since you debuted that mask looking for WWE merchandise, and I am still O for O. So I have not seen nary a WWE piece of merchandise yet, but I'm gonna keep looking. Wow. Because we got a big Five Below near our house now. It's big, so
maybe it's regional. Because we've got like the minifigs, little pop minifigures that are like serious? A buck or two. We've got Roman's mask. We had a Seth Rollins thing, but I don't like Seth Rollins, so I didn't buy it.
And I don't like Seth Rollins either.
But anyway,
well, we are in a new month-long contest. It's only 1 month, and
5 weeks.
Because we got but it's 5 weeks. 5 weeks, and it is called the Road to WrestleMania. And my first observation, Lee, I want to talk through your observations. I want to talk through your predictions. I want to talk through what you're seeing about the scoring. Is it time to panic? Yeah. Is it time to rejoice? What time is it? What should we be feeling? But let me say this: March,
7:30 in the morning.
March is International Women's History Month. Did you know that?
That's right.
I
did.
International Women's. And so I don't think it's a surprise that we have 2 female MLC characters this month. We have Kairi Sane, and we have the chase is Sonya Deville. Now, I would say maybe that was an accident that they just put 2 females. But last year, the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood event was Dakota Kai was the free superstar, and Damage Control Bailey was the chase. Yeah. So
I can't believe it's been a year.
It seems like March now, or maybe it always has been, and now we have a show to notice things, but it's like March, we can probably just predict it's going to be Women's Month and WrestleMania Month. You feel like you agree with that?
Well, I mean, two does not a pattern make, although it can a pattern start. But yeah, that would make sense. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think about that last year, and then I did notice it this year, mainly, because of our conversations with Goldie. Just being honest, Goldie called it out, and I was like, of course, that makes complete sense right there.
And Goldie is a girl, so
and Goldie is a female. There you go.
Girls tend to notice when they're being honored and celebrated, as to where men have thick cerebral skulls and don't make very keen observations oftentimes.
Yeah, my big question is the rest of the MLC female? Like, is it all female month? Will we have no male characters? I doubt that, but maybe.
Let me go bold here. Let's start with predictions.
Ooh.
I think we're going to see a new Hogan this month.
Oh, that would be cool.
And this is
Okay.
why. There's some substance to this theory. Is this it? Yes, the 40-year anniversary of Mania,
Yeah.
the inclusion of Hulk in all of the kind of promo and leading up. He's been one of the main like voices, even on other video games like 2K24. He's one of the main kind of finished the story
AI driven voice.
Yeah, it's really odd, right? But I'll say this, though. Even more so in our game, there's a sign in this month's collectible that's like running wild, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's last month
there's reason to think.
Last month we made our predictions on who we'd see in the game based on the plates. Okay. I'm making this month's predictions on who we might see in the game based on the collectible merch that we're seeing in the posters and in the caps. There's hats and posters, and so I think that's who is coming this month. I could be wrong, right? This is just a guess, speculation, but also kind of a hope. Like, I would love like a
S+ tier finally.
Well, a weekend Hogan. Has there been a weekend Hogan?
Like, oh yeah, plenty.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
I'm not used to playing competitively on the weekends. I'm rather new to like going hard on the weekend after the Superstar because, and for those of you who've been following our journey for a while, I played competitive Magic the Gathering, and that was my hobby that I supported finance. All my money went into Magic before for the last few years, right? So I would play, I was free to play on Champions, and then I would sit, you know, and sort cards and binder them and collect and trade and play and compete and try to win. So now I'm off the Magic circuit. And
nerds.
Speaking of nerdy, the largest possible nerds are the guys sitting in the TCG world that are like going on Friday nights to like Friday Night Magic. That was me. So
wow.
that's the real nerdiest of nerds out there. Or the guys playing Warhammer competitively and like measuring the distance with their own like custom measuring tapes. I don't know that
my wife would do Magic the Gathering competitions if she could. We actually got the Doctor Who Magic the Gathering set for Christmas.
Nice.
And have not yet played it because of life. So if life just didn't have so much going on, and she'd absolutely be there with you. So you know.
So let me just give a little information to my prediction. The merch search collection contest. We have a LA Knight foam finger. It says we have some sort of Heart Foundation cap, some sort of damage control cap, some sort of Judgment Day cap. We have a Acknowledge Me crowd sign, and I'm Your Mommy crowd sign, a yellow and red Running Wild crowd sign that says Hulkamania at the top, a 316 foam finger.
Yeah. Well, that one we know what that's for. It's March 16th.
That would be super cool though. If a new Austin was coming, we have a Yeet foam finger.
Huh.
And then we have let me make just a quick observation to you. We've got there's these mugs in the game, and one is collect one mug, Kairi Sane, collect one mug, Sonya Deville, right? So replacing the VHS tapes. Now, here's something I noticed. Lee.
You're going to hit before I say it, aren't you?
No. Collect one mug. There's weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Superstar. And then there's one mug. If you look close, it says collect one mug, week 5 special guests.
That's right. I was going to mention that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that you knew that already, or I didn't know that you made that observation. So I was
like, no, you're good. I was waiting. I was
like, so does that mean there's 5? Does that mean there's going to be 5 weekend superstars and then a
bonus?
Right.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, because that's the mugs correspond to new characters. So what if WrestleMania week they release a tag team, or what if WrestleMania week there's special counsel to the character for that week? What if there's a new Roman that's finally S tier, and then someone who just got acknowledged that they're going into the Hall of Fame?
Paul Heyman just got
was a special
put in the
guest.
WWE Hall of Fame. Wow.
What if we get Paul Heyman, or what if we get Pretty Deadly? Lots of people are saying tag teams.
What if we get the most insane prediction I've ever made on this show? What if we got zombie Paul Heyman? Like I predicted like months and months ago. What if this is March? What if this is the month of the spring outbreak, zombie month? And what if the special guest was also that ridiculous prediction I made of zombie Paul Heyman?
That'd be week 3 though. That won't be week 5.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just a guess. I'm just spitballing my hopes and dreams at a board of things that I would love to have on my roster in game. So,
so the reason I say that is there's an unnamed event on March 20th, which would be week 3. This event goes into the first week of April, so that'd be week 5. So if week 5 is the special guest and spring outbreak, just speculation, we don't know anything, just speculation, is March 20th.
Nothing.
Then, but what if it is special counsel, or what if it is they release a tag team, like both of them in the same weekend?
Okay, so cool. WrestleMania is April 6th, so that week 5 would be WrestleMania week. Yeah, it would actually be on the date of WrestleMania, which is really cool planning by Team Scopely.
Okay, I got it. Here's my predictions.
Okay.
Prediction and a backup. So the Judgment Day sign or hat or whatever it is Judgment Day Trickster R-Truth.
But he's not in the Judgment Day.
But he was, and they're historically can't keep up with that kind of stuff in these dev, in the games, because it takes long to dev the art and all the assets and all the things. So Judgment Day R-Truth.
That's my
first guess.
I unlikely, but it would be more likely to be McDonough, right? Would that make more sense or not? I'll take the same prediction as you and say Judgment Day check, JD McDonough. So you take Truth, I'll take McDonough.
Okay. We'll see who comes out of. Okay, and then I'm with you on a Hogan. I think that would be, if it's not all female, which I don't think it's going to be, but
I don't think because the last year's was as well, right? Yeah, last year, say, like Striker Cody came out WrestleMania week, which was awesome. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I went back.
Still got him at the bottom of my roster.
I went back and read blogs from last March 2023, just to see what did the month consist of.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of times Scopely they do callbacks. They like to, what did we do last year? Oh, what if we did this a little different this year? So I think sometimes the previous year can be an indicator of what we might see. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I still want to see Showboat Legends era actually just wearing yellow underwear tights, Hulk Hogan, that is S tier.
Because even the Hulkamania Running Wild, he wears the pants, right?
It's his Ruthless Aggression look. Like he was in the Ruthless Aggression-ish era, where he was wearing the tie-dyed pants because his legs were getting, older and varicose veins and all those things, brother.
I don't have these Tampa Bay legs the way I used to, brother.
So I want to see, and Scopely, if you're listening, please rework the move animation on the leg drop. Hogan didn't just come up and go boop and fall down. The atomic leg drop was jump in the air and then splat down. The version in game, he just bounces off the ropes and then goes boop, and it's like he fell over or something.
Okay.
So
you think
S plus Hogan.
So this is are you saying there is or is not or may be a correlation between the collectors hats and posters and the superstars? Do you have some predictions that are not in the posters and hats as well, or do you only have ones based on that? Because that would mean we would get an LA Knight,
right, and a Jey Uso,
or like main event Jey Uso, right?
We've got main event. It'd have to be Yeet because there's already main event Jey Uso in the game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he was the free character when they released Roman way back.
Oh, okay.
With like pandemic era.
Yeah. We would. I mean, a new Austin. Why does Steve Austin? Why is he horrible in this game? Why is there not a usable? Why is there not a usable Austin of perhaps the greatest superstar of all time? Right? Like that's worth a look, isn't it? I mean,
well, there is one. He is no longer available, and he's Masters of the Universe based.
Yeah, was he the cyborg, the jaw?
Yeah, Trap Jaw, man.
Trap Jaw,
one of the best. I love him too. Anyway, but yeah, he is. There's not really that many, if any, good versions of Austin. I don't think there's going to be another Austin though. 316 Day is a one-off event, and although check the calendar, I think 316 Day is a weekend. Let me look at this calendar thing here. I think 316 Day, yeah, it's a Saturday. So he could be next weekend's character then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I don't know if I'm ready to change my prediction, but 40 years
glass break.
Right. Here's my prediction. Ooh, what if the screen, like the glass, like did the shatter effect on the screen as he? Oh, all right. Here's my thoughts and predictions. 2K20, whatever it is, that's still not as good as Champions. I said it is doing this 40 years of WrestleMania theme. Yeah. What if the weekend characters are like, okay, so this weekend is Hogan, next weekend is Austin, the following weekend is Jey Uso, LA Knight, somebody, and then they work their way to Roman.
If that's true, this would be a very, very lucrative month for Scopely. I would think if they're really calling back and making OP. What if the version of Austin, the new Austin that in fiction exists that we're predicting? What if he was called what? What?
What
if that was his name? Steve Austin. What?
That would be hilarious. And he's the most the gimmick that everybody loves to hate or hates to love is the one that gets the most OP version of Austin in the game. Yeah. What if Austin had like an anti-stun? He's the stunner. What if he had like an anti-stun mechanic built into him the same way Muscle Man has
Austin
sub?
I started watching the show WWE Villains recently on Peacock, and it's a great episode on Stephanie McMahon and how Austin was the one to come out and rescue her from the Undertaker symbol that he was going to wed her, and then it's me, Austin. I mean, just that terrible. Like we don't refer to that former CEO. But what was interesting on that WWE Villains episode was that. Well, I'll say this: Stephanie at the time was like a teenager, maybe like 19, college undergrad. She was sitting in the writer's room doing an internship when they pitched the idea to include her for the first time in WWE TV. And it shows her real reaction, her real-time response to the writers. No, she didn't make a face. She was like literally stone cold face, like, and like afterward, she was like, this is crazy. They want to put me on TV. I've never been in the ring before. So, but I think it's a great show. I think it's a great show. My daughter suggested it. So
neat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to hear your predictions. Mine are now this weekend Hogan, Next weekend, Austin. Week 5, OP Roman with special counsel Paul Heyman. The other 2 weeks, I don't know. I'm out.
Well,
but that's my guess is now.
And that's
this
wild.
is entirely based on your conjecture, though. I'm building on your argument.
And we just got a Roman, so maybe not, but
we just got a
Becky, right? Yeah,
I didn't get a Roman. Well, everybody else got a Roman. I didn't get a Roman.
Let's talk.
I can't get him.
Let's actually talk about that today. About some of the, is there a gap, right? And we're looking at this new MLC and scoring and observations. I think we're gonna have to see finally a good Asuka. Finally, Asuka is viable in Champions.
Oh, you said Asuka. I thought you said Austin.
No, Asuka.
Oh yeah.
Asuka.
Yeah. Well, because usually there's at least one more female in there.
Kabuki Warriors link, right?
Okay.
So Kairi's tag team partner should be and like, who else is she gonna have this Kabuki Warriors link with? Like the old Asuka posters you just want.
It's already there.
Yeah, I know, but who would establish a sense of credibility to this link? It's not the old tech Asuka.
Purple Asuka's already, it's already a link in game.
Yeah,
Trickster Asuka is already linked. But
has the community been high on those Asukas, or have they been low on those Asukas?
Those Asukas are a slap in the face to fans of Kana and all that the Asuka.
So I think we'll see Showboat Asuka. I think we'll see Showboat, OP, Kabuki Warrior with the mask. As elaborate art as Kairi, and brilliant art, by the way. Oh my gosh, like Kairi might be one of the most creative and elaborate entrances and posters that the art team has come up with. It's great. It is really great.
And Sonya's poster is awesome as well. Her in-game character looks like someone hit her in the face with a brick. I don't know what they did to that, but the in-game, like, it's almost unviewable how, like, her, you see the poster art, her face is like, boom, there she is. And then you go to the in-game model, it's like, did they try to mix her with Sloth from the Goonies? Is that what they did to that character?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying.
Remember
when we were official content creators before we got kicked out because of something?
Very uncomfortable with this conversation. I think what we could also get, I'll make another prediction, right? I said Showboat Asuka. I think we could get, I don't know that they would do 2 Showboats in the same month, but I think we could get a Showboat Bret Hart. I think we could get finally an OP Bret Hart that is a WrestleMania icon, right? For so many years.
There is a Showboat Bret Hart. He's the IOW. Okay, there it is. I was trying to think.
Okay. Well, then maybe it's, I don't know. I mean, like, there's a couple of Bret Harts at this point. But I was just thinking.
Oh yeah. Tell me how you really feel.
You got all the hot takes on the female wrestlers today, don't you? So we've already got 2 tech Bret Harts in the game.
We do.
And we've got
Striker, Trickster.
We've got a Striker NWO Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So there's no powerhouse Bret Hart, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he was a tiny guy.
Just make him a third tech. Just infuriate the community.
Wow. Which tech Bret are you going to use? Shut up.
Yeah, who's the CSS this week? Tech Bret. Which one of the 3?
One? Right. Oh my goodness.
Well, what are you observing? This is day 3. It reset today. Will be day 3 of the Road to WrestleMania MLC. There seems to be some, I don't know,
consternation,
heartburn. Maybe, consternation is a great way to say it. From players unsure about the new scoring, the new approach to scoring, where some of the points are or are not. The pace now, does it even matter? Do we know what a pace? Like, is there a way to predict any outcome this early this month? Lee, what's your thoughts on any or all of that I'll be silent for the next 35 minutes while you explain.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I think Professor called it out best, or I should say somebody on Professor's stream, and he parroted it back as like a, yeah, like that. This is the community. Every event is a copy and paste. How dare they not innovate? This is also the community. You've changed things. How dare you change things? I don't like it when you change things. Like, and I'm not saying that mockingly. Like, that is very true. Like, that is us. That is, every time they change something, we all lose our minds.
And then what do they say? You did this to cater to the whales. Like, that's,
yeah, usually.
That's the first, you're like,
the first comment.
What? Yeah. There's this like almost like a stages of grief anytime there's a change in this video game. And the first 100%. Is like confusion, and then it goes into anger, and then it goes into depression, outrage, and then it goes
bargaining,
into willingness to like, okay, I'm starting to see it's not as bad as I thought. And then and by the end, you're like, this was awesome. I hope they never go back to the old way. Right.
Not I mean, that is change. That is the way it works. I mean, change is a form of grief in some ways. You're right. I just sidetracked since I pointed this out earlier, but Doctor Who, one of my fandoms there, every time they announce a new doctor, it's this next person is not going to be good as the previous person. The whole show is going to fail. They should cancel it. Everything's wrong. The world's, and then the new doctor debuts and they're like, oh, okay, this guy's not too bad. All right. Or gal. Okay. And then by the time there's a season or two under the belt, like, this is the best doctor ever. It's never been better. And then that doctor announces they're leaving. And all of a sudden it's like, well, this next person's not going to be great. They can never live up to
They do that like with that Batman cycle. As well. That's kind of the Batman cycle as well.
Yeah.
You know, like
every new Batman is terrible.
Yeah. Right.
Until he's the sitting Batman or the past Batman.
And some are. The Michael Keaton callback Batman was really cool. Yeah. Where was he at? The Flash movie where he showed back up as the Dark Knight? That was really, really cool.
It was. Yeah. But yes, I think people are freaking out. And I think, given the track record of certain things even recently not having the points we expected, I think it's understandable to have concerns. I would say when any of these things are the case, like hold the line for a little bit, see how it goes. The old pace for a 5-week MLC was 100,000 points a week.
Yeah.
If you're currently sitting in that 50,000, 40,000, 60,000, you may still be on pace. We don't know because we haven't even hit the midweek events. Like we haven't done a full midweek event yet. We have one going, but we haven't actually hit it to see what are the points going to look like. We don't know if points are back on the weekends now. We don't know the impact of, I was going to say we don't know the impact of faction events, but Toxic Mafia #1 in the faction events globally, we've already maxed and then some. Anyway, just saying.
Is that your faction? Is that the faction you're in?
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. I'm in Battletoads, so I was just asking.
No, you're not.
I wish. I started.
You're gonna get them reaching out to you, and
if there's anybody in Battletoads, I want to talk. Second of all, if there's anyone in Battletoads, just know that I have started auto responding to anybody that writes on Facebook. I'm looking for a new faction. I've got this roster. I don't care if it's 3 million to 9 million, 10 million. I just started responding with Battletoads to every single thing. So I'm trying to send you guys people that are out there looking for a faction. I don't know if you're full or not, or if you're conducting interviews. And yeah, Rusty from Champions Chat told me I should come over to Battletoads.
Wow.
It's just fun. It's a game. I'm having fun with the game, right? So
you are.
We're gonna see Battletoads in the top 10.
How'd you guys get there? Well, there's all these people started coming over because the Champions Chat podcast.
Where they came from. We don't
so glad we're Rusty's faction mate, and Rusty's like, oh, I'm actually
not in Battletoads.
I'm not in Battletoads.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Anyway, but yeah, just don't freak out yet. I mean, we don't know. And the reality is when they have gotten it wrong, they have usually, with a big asterisk there, usually made it right. Like if the points
especially
weren't there, they've
in the
hopped
6-star
on and said,
meta.
hey, this wasn't right. Here's points, and stuff.
Outside of the TP takeback, I don't
Yeah.
know that I can think of one situation since the 6-star meta began where
Mm-hmm.
I would point fingers and say, shame on you,
Right.
Scopely or champions. This was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't have Showboat Nakamura. I know
I don't
people in the
either.
Showboat Nakamura camp would probably say some of that revision or the Rocker Sean,
Right.
like that was a really big
It was a big
hubbub.
deal.
Um,
Akershawn hits harder now.
right. Oh,
Just,
okay. So
just saying.
terrific.
Merrick showed it. He proved it.
Yeah. So outside
But
of the T, and I wasn't happy about the TP take back. I
I know.
did a long dissertation on that, kind of an angry
You
red
got
faced
red
man.
and like,
Yeah,
yeah, it
basically, and
was
I still feel the same way. Don't go into the lockers of the community and take things. Always give, never take. If you ever give too much, that's on you. Oopsie doopsie. And so like my position hasn't changed on that, but since the 6-star meta began, let's say back with like the IOW Showdown coin, with the release of those, so roughly for 1 year, we've
So you're talking
been
6 silver meta, not 6-star, just
our
the 6 silver specific.
6-star. I would just say since we began this show in the Piper Nevin trial superstar era, and it was right on the heels of 6-star
The
beginning.
6 silver, yeah.
Oh, okay. Was that it?
That was, yeah, we started 6 silver, not 6 bronze.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
I would just say this. That's for me, that's a mile marker of me paying very close attention to what's happening in this
Yeah,
game.
that makes sense.
So
100%.
since I began paying very close attention in this game, the TP takeback would be the one thing where I'd go, that didn't feel good. Everything else, I think they've been fairly, and I would say that might even be reflective of this quote administration. I don't know who all is in charge and at what level. I don't know anyone that makes the art. I don't know anyone that is the developer. I don't know. I have some connections on the content team because that's the kind of the chain of the organism that I'm in here. I don't know anything about the financials. I don't know anything about any of that.
Right.
Same. But when the Flash feud went, let's say went sour last weekend, the tour and the in-game message that they released was a wonderful and unexpected solution to it. And the community, I think for the most part, went, okay, cool. But that illustrates this principle to me, Lee. They may not get it right, but they seem committed to making it right.
Yeah.
That's how I would, if somebody said, if their synopsis of this game was negative and that they always take and they don't care, etc., I would say no. I think they don't always get it right, but I think they're committed to making it right when they don't get it right. That would be my pushback on people that are angry at the game. And so I think this month will be the same.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll get it right out of the gate, but I bet they'll make it right, whatever it is. If anything goes south or sour, I bet the forum will be effective in expressing that. And I think that there's some great conversations happening there and that you can join into, and that they do review them and that they are making adjustments based on it. Yeah. That's a fact. That's a proven fact. Last weekend was proof.
Yeah, the forum, like some of the specific comments that people made on the forum got directly addressed in the adjustment. Like it was great. Plus, again, we can't talk too much about the chain that we do have. We have a couple of people who sit on Scopely, that were in those chats, and the other content creators. And I can say 100%, like they were they were concerned about the impact on the community, and like, oh wow, yeah, this didn't go right. Like, okay, guys, kind of like, we can't tell you what we're doing, but we're working on it. And they even
Yeah.
kind of said, like, what are some of the things you guys are seeing? Like, are you guys seeing this? Is this, they and the content creators as a whole advocated for the community, but it wasn't because like we were advocating against Scopely. Like, we were working with that tiny stream that we have with Scopely. We were working together, and they were going, oh yeah, we're gonna make this, we're gonna change this. And so they are listening, and
Or
they do
yeah.
care.
And I would
There's
say
human beings
this,
on the other side of this.
I think a lot of times what we'll hear on our end is just, and I think I'm allowed to share this, is just that we'll be sending out a message tonight addressing
Yeah.
this, or
Yeah.
we will be doing X, and you could probably see, like, you'll see that in a few hours, or we'll announce that on stream tonight. We'll have whoever's doing the blog address that on Twitch tonight. And so we've seen an attentiveness, I would say, an attentiveness that now we're not here to just defend or protect in any way this game. We enjoy playing it. We're users just like you. Lee, could I share? Do you have any more observations of the scoring or predictions? Because this might be the perfect segue to what I was telling you about faction life and how we respond, the analogy that I have. So I've been noticing more and more that life in a faction and life in this game is very similar on some levels. Now, preface, every illustration breaks down when you argue it to an absurd level, right? So this is merely for comparison purposes. But I'm seeing that the way we fly on the commercial airline is very similar to the way we play this game. And particularly like faction life, right? That go with me, if you will, on a little illustrative journey, Lee, where I think your faction is like an airplane, right? And you've got maybe a leader, co-leaders, right? They are, for the most part, the pilots on the plane. They're responsible for helping everyone reach a destination. And let's say that destination is, maxing the MLC, or doing well on the leaderboard in your weekend event, right? Say a Flash Feud, right? Helping coordinate things. And so they don't always control the flight plan. I think that comes from the game itself, right? The flight plan, the panels that the pilots use, they're using the same, right? It's the game itself, and it's the MLC, and it's the blogs, and it's the things that come out. But I think you also have officers and enforcers in your faction, right? And sometimes we wonder, well, what are those roles do? Are they just to be mean to people in the chat? Or are they just to like keep us all in line? But really, I think they're there to help make the experience, to be helpful, and to help keep the passengers, everyone else in the faction, comfortable and enjoying the flight, right? And I think you have in the faction, everyone is a passenger. Even if you are a flight attendant, you're still a passenger. Even if you are a pilot, you're still a passenger on this airliner, right? And so if you've flown recently, you notice there are different kinds of passengers. There's like a first class area, right? Those are people that have spent quite a bit more than the people like me who are flying in, coach or business class. Maybe spend a little bit, right? You're a little bit more, you're in business class. So
less Bray Wyatt's on the plane.
Yeah. And you know what? The perks are different in those two categories of passengers, right? Sometimes they have their own, a bigger screen up there. Sometimes they have a little, a meal, or sometimes they're given like a complimentary drink or something. It's because they've paid for a premium experience. And so their flight is going to be more comfortable and less uncomfortable than my experience in coach. I'm going to have less leg room. It's going to be a little more crowded. It's not going to be, the perks aren't going to be as fancy. It's going to be a little more challenging. I'm going to be uncomfortable in my seat more so than they would, especially in the big boy recliner that they get, right? And so I was thinking about this faction life, and faction as an airplane. One of the worst things that can happen on a flight is that there's a crying baby on the plane.
I thought you were saying it crashes, but okay, yeah, let's go with
crying baby on the flight, right? And I'm not calling anyone out there a baby. I'm just saying that kind of noise is an annoyance, right? That kind of hearing someone else in pain is something we typically try to avoid. We try to put our earbuds in. We try to watch the movie, turn up the volume, whatever it is that we're doing. And we probably all have one of those faction members who's the crier. And how do we engage with them, right? Or do we not? I also think, when you get into this comparison of a faction as like an airplane, Lee, you have the jobs of these leaders, the jobs of officers, enforcers, flight attendants, flight crew. Like, when problems arise, this new MLC is a great example. When a problem arises, right? When they foresee turbulence, their job is to still communicate with the passengers and ensure them that everything's okay and that they'll get through it, right? The last thing you want is a flight attendant to get on and say, "This is horrible. We're experiencing turbulence. We could crash. This is right." Like, you want them to be like, "Oh, attention, this is your captain speaking. We seem to be cruising at an altitude and we're running into a storm. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try our best to go around it. But we ask you to fasten your seatbelts and sit tight for the next few minutes." Right? And you have a calming voice that comes over the air. And so I was thinking about that, like my role as an officer in our faction, the kind of leader that we have, the kind of leaders that I've seen in other factions, the kind of, but like, how does that illustration, I've done a lot of talking for the last few minutes. Does that hold up? Is that fair to say that, like, on some levels, there's really a comparison there? And ultimately, are there some lessons? Are there some leadership lessons or faction lessons that we might gain from this comparison?
Yeah, I mean, so you said, we, just for people like, oh, we've been talking about this for a while. I'm planning it. Like, literally 5 minutes before we went live, Rusty was like, "Ooh, I've got something I want to throw at you here as we go." So
I hand wrote some notes, Lee. Look at this.
Nice.
I've got a notepad, and it says
on something,
faction life illustration, airplane, and I just started jotting down. This is a Magic the Gathering score.
I was gonna say, that's like Magic logos or something.
Yeah,
I've seen them on my wife's decks. Anyway, yeah, no, I think there's some comparisons and parables that go over well with that. I definitely hadn't thought about this before, but it is like, okay, so the airplane, the reason why that's an apt analogy is we're all kind of in this same box, like, and we're breathing, so to speak, the same air.
Yeah.
We're we've got all that. Plus, like, one of the ones you maybe didn't mention is, like, if there is somebody, it's even one of the commercials right now that that's out. It shows like a girl sitting in your seat, and then the girl in front of her like fluffs her hair back over her screen, and the person behind puts his shoes up there, and like someone sticks their gum, or
what about
like
the toes coming through the seat? That is probably the worst.
You know what we call that? We call that the seat worm.
Oh, I wish I had some spray hand sanitizer to, like,
yeah. Or what you do is you just turn around and lick them, and then they run. Just joking.
Start drawing on their toe with your Sudoku pen. You're doing your puzzle.
Yeah.
And you make a little smiley face on the toe. do not take your shoes off on an airplane. If this is the only takeaway from today's episode, please do not take your shoes off on an airplane. If you're listening to me, go. Leave them on.
Well, but the experience of one impacts the experience of all. Like, and maybe I'm 30 rows back and in row 5 somebody's having an issue. I don't really feel that so much because I'm not quite as close to them. But the same way, like, yeah, if somebody throws a fit, if somebody's rude to the stewardesses, if somebody's blah, 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 like, yeah, all of those things impact everyone. And yeah, the officers as stewardesses, stewards, that makes sense. The
flight attendant is the PC term, I believe.
Oh, sorry, flight attendant.
Yeah, that's the old 80s term is stewardess. So
yeah, or steward.
You can't say that anymore.
But that's not fair because I've always wanted to be a steward of Gondor. Oh dang. This is Lord of the Rings subtleties.
There's a lot of words you can't say anymore that we used to say when we were kids. But
oh yeah, we learned stuff. Anyways. But no, I think that is an apt analogy, and I think that's we all chose to take the flight, but we don't always choose to who gets on the plane with us. We're all trying to go towards a specified destination, but the way one experiences it with turbulent. I mean, yeah, it's the more I think about this, the more I applaud the fact that you thought about this.
Well, sometimes my smooth brain yields incredible results. Let me throw this your way, right? Because I think there is potentially a growing gap. Refute me if you feel otherwise, between the spenders and the non-spenders, or the low spenders and the high spenders. If we're on an airplane, right?
Sure.
One of the worst things I can do is try to peek through that curtain and see what all of the first class has that I don't have. It will make my flight miserable. All I will be able to think about is what I'm not getting. They're getting steak tartare and champagne, and there are planes now where the seat reclines fully into a bed, and they give a blanket and a pillow and real silverware. They're using like real cutlery while I'm while I'm opening a can of Pringles I had to pay $4 for on the flight, right?
And it's this big.
Yeah, the little micro can.
Right.
But like, and I've done this. The worst flights I've ever had was when I like international from New York City to Tel Aviv. I made the mistake of seeing what was up at the front of the plane, and I was miserable. I tried to use their restroom, and they told me, "I don't think so, pal." And they kicked me out, and I saw luxury flying that I had never seen before. And all I could think about was like, this is like so wrong. Now I've been segregated, right? Social economic polarity. This is class warfare. Like all the crazy things that I tell myself, right? I'm making these conclusions of like, I don't like being pushed into a different category of human. Am I not the same, as them? Do I not count? Do I not matter the same way they matter? And for me, my injustice meter began to rise when in reality they had paid thousands of dollars more for that experience than I had paid. Thousands. Their ticket was probably $5,000 more than my ticket was.
Good Lord. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think where
first class to Tel Aviv from New York, that's like a $12,000 plane ticket.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's expensive.
Right. Well, I think where that analogy on this part of it breaks down is now we start or not breaks down, I guess we further it, is we take into account the airline themselves. Like, we're talking about the people on the plane. What about the people who make and manage and run the plane? and they intentionally put where the front door you enter, you have to walk through first class in order to get to your seats, because they want you to see what you could have.
Just rub your nose
They
in it a little
want you
bit.
to see, oh, if you spend that extra 5,000,
right.
you could do this. And it's like, ooh, okay, well,
like the prize wall sometimes makes me feel that way.
Yeah, talk about when I got red-faced. I still
Like the
don't like the
brag
way
room.
prize walls
In a
go.
faction of brag room can make you feel that way.
It can.
Gosh, just looking at your leaderboard can make you feel that way, you know?
Yeah, and it benefits the company, the airline, you know, that makes the plane, for you to see that, because they want you to want those perks, because the way that you get those perks is spending. Now, we have said on this podcast before, I don't ever begrudge Scopely for pushing spending to whatever degree they do, because that's the only way that the game keeps going. That's how they make money.
Right.
But you're right. If I see, like, okay, this last month is a good example. Out of all the content creators, I got the least new characters. Not talking about from the Oopsie, but of the weekend
No,
characters.
Davey got less because he took a break from the game.
Didn't play.
Davey was on a hiatus, so you're ahead of Davey. Okay, there's always somebody behind you.
It's good perspective. Thank you for being an encourager as an officer, Rusty. I appreciate that. But out of all the content creators, I got the least new characters.
Right.
And I'm sitting there looking at this premium gauntlet blitz that was out this week, you know, at the start of the MLC. Right. And I'm one character short. If I had gotten Becky, if I had gotten Roman, if I had gotten Bray, if I had gotten Bianca, I'm sitting here with only Shinsuke, even though I did 5 megapole. Oh my gosh, did I do 5? Wow.
Yeah, don't you know, the air your laundry here.
Okay, well, it was public. It was a public. Everybody could see.
Yeah. Oh, we did it live on stream, so yeah, there's a public record of this. Yes,
that's right.
Did 5 plus megapoles.
So yeah, I mean the Bray one was that's the angry. I mean that's the anyway. But yeah, I mean, so I could very easily, like, even you, Rusty, who often says like, oh, you have all these characters, Lee, that I don't have. You got more characters last month and this month than I.
Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw.
So I could very easily look at what I don't have.
That's right.
And I could very easily look at first class and go, how dare I not get that? Yeah. Or I could recognize, like, I did what I could. I'm happy with what I got, and I'm going to enjoy the flight. Because we're still going to make it to Tel Aviv together, right? We're all going to make it to Tel Aviv unless something catastrophic happens. So why am I upset that maybe I had a little leg cramp during part of it? I mean, I get it. It's personal, but.
Well, yeah. And here's the other thing, right? And I totally agree with you. So on one hand, we have the role of a passenger, right? And we're responsible for our own level of contentness. And on the other hand, you and I think many of us that might be listening out there are officers or leaders, whether you have the title of leader in your faction or not. If you're an influencer if you're a voice someone listens to in your faction, you are a leader. If people take your information and say thank you, or that was helpful, you are a leader, because leadership is influence. Leadership is not title. Leadership is not position. Leadership is not authority. Oh, look at that. 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So I would say
leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Direct quote.
I quoted Maxwell. I didn't even know it. That's incredible. But I would say this, right? So if I think we are a podcast and a show that leaders listen to, and I think they share our information with others in their faction, it's important to remember your tone, your timing. All of those things really matter. How you
need a third T for alliteration. Your tone, your timing.
Your temperament? I don't know.
Okay. I was gonna say tutelage, but that was stupid. That doesn't fit.
Yeah. So for example, if the flight attendant got on the PA and was like, "Oh my gosh, there's turbulence. This is totally unexpected. We're in trouble, everybody." you have just incited a panic on board. And the pilot is going to be going, what are they doing? Keep everybody calm until we figure this out. I'm gonna figure out a plan over, above, around, or through the storm. And we're gonna figure that out. Behind the scenes, come behind the curtain and let's talk. Right. And so then you have all the other flight attendant. If you ever hear the bing boom, and then they pick up the phone, they're communicating privately with the pilot or privately flight attendant to flight attendant. And they're not telling the rest of us what they're saying. But it's usually not, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good too. Yeah. No, it's usually like, hey, I'm going to turn on the fasten seatbelt line because what I can see coming up is going to be a little uncomfortable. We're going to have to discontinue the beverage service at this time. Right? So they're having a conversation of, we got to get everybody through this, and we got to keep the peace. We got to keep everybody calm. We got to keep everybody enjoying their flight. We got to keep them tuned in to their device, right? Watching the movie, drinking the drink, drinking the ginger ale, having fun, smiling, being comfortable, regardless of their seat on the plane. We want everybody just to have a great experience. And that's some of the burden of leadership, right? That's some of the burden of influence, is that your voice is always amplified.
Yeah.
Your voice, your words are words that affect others. So when you're positive, it affects others. When you're not positive or negative, it affects others. And Lee, you know something I've really learned? I don't know if this came from one of your leadership books or not. Something I've learned is that the good things that I do, the people that listen to me, they begin to do the things I do in excess, the good, they begin to just do in moderation. They begin to do a little bit. The good things I do a lot of, they do a little bit of. But the bad things I do a little bit of, they begin to do a lot of. So if I'm negative, or if I'm complaining, or if I'm pessimistic, or if I'm trolling, or if I'm cussing, or if I'm doing something that's like because of my status as an influencer and a leader, and I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about life as a dad, as a leader in my organization at work. If the bad things I do, if I'm lazy a little, they will be lazy a lot. If I'm if I'm obsessed with my phone, and then my kids will be phone zombies, screen zombies, right? So I have to always be aware of my effect on others. And that, like I'm saying, I just want a little bit of good to happen. So I better be doing a lot of good. I better be over communicating the positive if I want them to feed back a little positive. Right?
Yep.
You got thoughts on that? I mean, you're an incredible leader. You've read books on this. I've not.
I've read books.
I've only heard from others about it.
I've done. So, couple things that you're hitting on there that all tie into this. Yeah, as a leader. So one of the things I've learned in leadership is the further you get in leadership, the less freedom you have. And I don't mean that in a restrictive way, but like the things I could say when I'm not leading versus what I need to say and hold myself to as a leader are very different. The things I could do, the things that I could, etc. And similar to the principle that you say, I tell our leaders all the time, if you set the bar here, the average person will meet you here, not way down here. Let's not short circuit people or disbelieve in them.
Assume the best.
The average person will hit here. So if you're wanting to see these results, you need to hit here so that they will hit there, right? Like you need to go above and beyond. Another one, Leadership Summit last year, someone said some words that I still rumble with because my words of affirmation is not like, that's not native to me. I'm not good at it. I actually just proved it by even saying those words out loud because I just not affirmed myself. But the thing that he said is, look, if you as a leader are trying to create a positive culture, You need to imagine the level of encouragement that you're giving people to the farthest degree you could possibly take it until you're about to go, oh, that's too much, and then double it, and they will start
Wow.
feeling it.
Wow.
Go the farthest you can to appreciate people and then double it. And now you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's so rough. That's so hard. Again, let's recognize you don't get to be the captain of the flight by sitting on your phone on the weekends.
I'm
You
the
get to be
captain
the
now.
captain of the flight by study, by proving yourself, by stepping above. It's not leadership as elitism. Leadership is earned. Leadership is influence, but leadership is also, when you are in positions of leadership, it comes with a cost, a higher cost than sitting at the back of the plane and doing, I don't care what happens. Like if I fall asleep on the flight, it's not going to crash. If the
So
pilot falls asleep on the flight, we're in trouble.
let me say this. This is an interesting observation based on what you just said. The most uncomfortable seat in the plane is the flight attendants.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, that is
most
true.
uncomfortable seat in the plane is the person responsible for all the other people.
Huh. Interesting.
They can't afford to sit on their laurels. They're not
Yeah.
given a comfortable seat on purpose. They
Yeah.
have to stay on their feet. And the little flop down hatch thing that they sit on is, I don't know that I'd fit on it, first of all. If I did, I don't know that it would sustain me. But second of all, like, I think that's a great snapshot of leadership, period. They're like,
yeah,
the seat of the leader kind of stinks. You don't get the cozy. You're not in first class. You're not a passenger like everyone else. You're always on the move. You're always on the go. You're always attending to other people's needs and thoughts and whims and concerns and questions. I don't have what it takes to be a leader of a faction. Like, we've already established this. Like, I've said it many times. I will never lead my own faction. I will always be championing and celebrating the leadership of someone else in our faction, because if people were DMing me at 2 a.m., their drama with someone else, somebody else said in the chat, like, you better believe that'd be a short-lived experience for both me and them. Because I just wouldn't respond with the type of leadership that's necessary in that situation, right? And so being a leader is not for everybody. Certain levels of leadership are not for everybody.
Right.
Certain levels of the sections of the plane are not for the people that sit in the emergency row. Have more responsibility. They have to agree to more responsibility to get the extra leg room, right? The people that pay infinitely more to sit in first class have more than I will ever have on that flight and in this game.
Yeah.
And in this game, their experience will be different. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get to my destination. That doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy my flight. It doesn't mean I have to be jealous or be mad or be angry or be bitter or be sad that I'm not the one flying the plane, or that I'm not the one on the intercom making the announcements, or that I'm not the one getting the extra meal or the extra leg room. All I got to think about is my little real estate around me and making sure that I'm doing what I can do to enjoy it the most. Right?
Well, this was a good analogy, Rusty. I didn't know where it was going for a bit, but I've now adopted this as my new paradigm for how we play this game, because it just fits so well. So great job. And unfortunately, we need to move into WWE TV stuff here in a moment. But let's just say real quick, how you feel about the plus 99 MP?
I mean, I think it's really cool. It doesn't matter as much as I thought, because like in the Blitz, what is it called? Not Blitz, but the tours
Blitz
that
Creek
are named
Pop.
the tour, is that what it's called? The tours that are
No,
named
it was
after the
last
Blitz?
month. It's something Blitz now.
Blitzmania tour. The
Blitzmania. Oh,
Blitzmania,
another Hulkamania clue. No, it's
brother.
WrestleMania.
So the Blitzmania tour, the minus 99 is negged. So it's like,
right.
Okay. Like,
That's there.
I liked taking, I will say this, I like taking a 2-star Kairi Sane through the tours and like not having to worry about like the one trainer that I could get didn't have to be an MP trainer, right? So like my one good trainer could be a sub move trainer, right? So I'm hitting that blue sub or that blue finisher fully charged with
every time
damage enhanced, right? So that's super, super good. And I'll let me put a little disclaimer. I think I was wrong on Kairi when I did the preview video for Kairi. I said, I don't know, maybe she's as strong as Dakota and Shotzi, maybe not even as strong. I was comparing Heavy Metal Rhea with what I had on my roster to what I had on my roster with Kairi. I've since watched other people's gameplay and previews of Kairi. She's certainly better than Dakota with no drip. I think she's better than Shotzi also.
All the way around. Yeah.
I think so. But I don't have a pyro plate. I don't have a, one of those plates that's going to really make her.
Whose fault is that, Rusty?
Oh, it's mine, but I'm in the back of the plane still, right? So like for me, triple green Kairi, like cool 9 million damage, like I'm doing some good stuff with her. But I think my overall assessment of her was limited to my own tools on my roster. I think if I had on a preview account, I'd be getting a lot different results with her. And if I was had been a spender for the last few years, or if I would have made a better choice instead of the Piper Nevin choice that I made, I would probably have a lot different perspective of her. So
well, let's close out this section by me just kind of saying with this, I think the plus 99 is actually a really interesting move to say this is how we value all players in the game. Because now, if you only got the free character, that free character is OP for 2 months. Like even if they were, I mean, Kevin Owens show boat is great, period. But for 2 months, amazing. If you got Rhea, all of a sudden, even better. If you got any of the weekend characters, and one of the things
even Nakamura.
I got Nakamura. That's right. And he, by the way, hits 20 million turn 1 if you have the last ride to hell plate. But anyway, all I'm saying is this was very fair and balanced to everybody. And it gives something that we've wanted for a while, which is the new characters. Like, what's the value to those who do spend? Well, they have them for a while when no one else does. But what if the value is those characters are overpowered for a while?
Yeah.
And you then have them cool off a little bit. And then the ones who are going to chase the new, then the next month's characters, then the next month's characters. So there's always reason to go after them. But now the fact that there are shards available of last month's characters guaranteed in the next month, like one of my big concerns with the Bray Wyatt event was yeah, well, that's what they said, but was subject to change. But one of my big concerns with the Bray Wyatt event was what if they do to Bray Wyatt what they did to Pyro Princess Alexa, Mutant Alexa, or Booker T Hall of Fame, where he is out, everybody wants him, but 5 people get him, and then they never allow him back again.
So you'd call that vaulting him, like Disney puts things in the vault.
Yeah, like the Disney practice, if it's going back into the vault. So make sure you buy it now. I hadn't even
considered that. Lee, why would you think that would even be a possibility? This is terrible.
Well, I mean,
please do not
list Hall of Fame Booker T
even happen to I'm roughly around 200 shards from Bray. And so like if they vaulted him now, my goodness.
You'd be sad, big sad.
Big sad. It would be big sad.
Right. But
I'd be the baby on the plane.
You'd be the baby on the plane. But then the practice seems to be that now you'll have a chance across 2 months to get them. So those who get them early have an immediate massive advantage.
And all the
And
points.
those who don't can go, oh man, like it's a peek into first class, right? It's like, look what you
Yeah.
could have. And so from Scopely's point of view, it encourages spending. But from the player point of view, at the very least, Kyrie is going to be massive on your roster for at least 2 months. And we're thinking, oh, that's only 2 months. But the reality is, what's the shelf life of characters in the game? Free characters specifically. There are certain ones that you use beyond the MLC, but for the most part, like I plan to use KO for the long haul. But as good as the change was to Kama, I haven't touched him again since his MLC, right?
Well, yeah, same. I don't use comma very often. But
You
he's
thought you
really
might.
good. There's just too many
Yeah.
tricksters. But
Right.
if yeah, there's really a complexity here with like you probably need to, and I'm probably terrible at this, you probably need to hold the free MLC superstar in higher esteem than we typically have in the past.
Yeah.
Meaning Lex Luger Tech, Theory
Mm.
Tech, Loomis,
Mm-hmm.
all continue to show up on Boss Battle preview footage, all
Right.
continue to get a plate like the last ride plate. Who would have thought, right, that like that would be for Loomis, right? And then somebody
Right.
cracks it and you're like, oh, or the Uso cap we got a few months ago. If you were able
Right.
to do the 4, Uso cap goes on Tech Lex and suddenly he's better than Jimmy Uso, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't see that coming. And I think Kevin Owens, that's a sober reminder to say, like, push that dude up to 6-star. You're not done with him yet. And this continuance of the MP into the next month further reinforces his value. And what Lee just said, if for some reason you missed that chase or that weekend superstar that you were dying to have, you got another crack at it, which is really cool. You got another month to keep chasing it. I don't see how that could be bad on any front. I don't see how that could be. Where's the downside there? Like I would love to end up with Bray. Like that would be massive. So to say, you have another month, terrific.
Right. I mean, on the FOMO side of things, those who, we talk about it, those who aren't spending at all, maybe it's one more month of, oh, come on, I'm still not going to get them. But for the majority of the player base, it's you're saying there's a chance. Like, even if I don't recruit Rock and Roman, that I'm so like, I was this close, even if I don't recruit him, I'm happy the fact that you got him, that almost every other content creator got him. And I'm not upset for your joy. I just go, wow, you get 99 MP and he was really good without that.
Think about here's a thought for you. This would be really interesting. What if, let's take Rock and Roman, for example. What if Rock and Roman shards were attached to how well you did in that Hogan weekend contest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're not necessarily chasing Rock and Roman. You still are chasing the new thing, the next thing. Mm-hmm. And the rewards, though, could be for, the last thing you didn't get, you still have another chance of getting that as well. Like that would be
I would love
fascinating turn of events, So then you're not choosing.
It seems like that's the direction we're going a little bit.
Yeah. Well, my frustration would be if I had to make a choice between, okay, I'm only 200 shard of Bray, but like, what if those don't come at all? And then I'm missing out. I'm forsaking that pursuit to chase this new Hogan. But what if I only get, 75% of his shards? So now I'm in a situation where I never catch up, where I never can do So then it's just like a rat wheel, or a rat, what is it called? Gerbil, hamster wheel.
I mean,
so then you're just running and running and making no progress. and then you're just like, this is stupid. If it's a crossroads where you have to either or, that's not going to feel good. I hope it's a both and pursuit. I hope.
I mean, maybe. I mean, again, from the people who run this to make the money, either or benefits them better. But the fact that you didn't have that choice before at all, like if I have to choose, hey, I'm 200 shards short of Zombie Sammy. If that means like if I put my resources here instead of here, I guarantee myself Zombie Sammy. But over here, I'm taking a chance on the new character. Then maybe it's wise for me to get the one that I can guaranteed get.
Agree. And I'd be so down with that. Like I would be.
Yeah. So that either or is probably
the bird in the hand,
paradox.
right? And that was the fallacy that we talked about, was like with Bray, it felt like there's two in the bush, and so we're trying to chase that versus the bird that could have been in the hand with some different choices on pulls and different ways we played the game, different way. The high roller loot felt to me like there is no bird in the hand with this outcome. It is a bush full of birds, bush full of guaranteed premium features or whatever. Remember we talked about that? I was like, what does guaranteed featured even mean? Okay, let's go on to WWE TV. Lee, I have a question for you. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Does anything happening on WWE TV right now even matter? Doesn't it seem like WrestleMania is predetermined, the outcome? Should I even be watching? Is all of this filler or not? Is there any value to this month of programming?
To watching anything right now? I mean, I think it's great to keep up. And I think the excitement that, genuinely the excitement from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania is like the best season of wrestling. And well, actually, I would say till the Monday after WrestleMania, 'cause that's when the big debuts, re-debuts happen, all that kind of stuff. It's the biggest excitement. So I would say the Cody and the Rock stuff, because of how infrequently Rock and Roman are there, maybe it feels like they're spinning their wheels until they can kind of hit the gas. But other things, like I'm intrigued. Like I really thought LA Knight would have a prominent role coming into this, and I don't see him doing much. I'm not sure who's going to end up facing Logan Paul. They're trying to figure out how they're going to get Chad Gable to where he gets to beat Gunther at WrestleMania. Like there's all these things that like the main story feels pretty locked in. We know we're getting Drew versus Seth. We know that Seth is going to turn on Cody and it's going to be the new bloodline. We know these things are going to happen.
Yeah,
but the Intercontinental and the US and the tag teams are
still will be so relevant in 2024, Lee. That's a great twist of fate.
If they got the other guy back, that would, I mean, who knows?
Nobody wants the Shield back. Nobody wants more Rollins on TV, I don't think. Maybe Becky is the only person that wants to see.
We're of a certain age where that would not be nostalgia for us, but the same people who are like when Hogan came back at WrestleMania X8 and people were like, why are you marking out over Hogan? He's the past. That was my childhood. This would be the same way for some. The Shield was their childhood, and if they came back, it would be like, my favorite thing from my childhood is back, baby.
Wow. Let it be Cena then. Just let it be Cena. Remember when Chain Gang Cena made a like re-emergence at WrestleMania? That was funny. Dynamic. That was terrific.
But I mean, I think the mid card is still interesting, relevant. And we know what's happening. I think the women's and the men's world title pictures are pretty locked in. And we're just biding time until we get there. But everything under that is still pretty interesting, I think.
I really think they're going to add another female to the Becky Rhea. I really think they're going to add another female. I really think the Intercontinental title will be determined in a ladder match the same way it was when the Del Rio and Cody Stardust and Kofi and it was that wrestle. I don't remember when it was, a few years ago. It was a big started Mania. You remember that one?
No, I wasn't watching then.
I think we'll see either a a free-for-all, but probably a ladder will determine it. I think there's not a lot interesting happening on WWE TV right now. And here's why I think that, because some of the call-ups that I would have hoped for that night, the Raw after Mania, they already got called up, like Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton and Naomi's return. And like that was a lot of new blood to interject into, I think, what's kind of already a crowded title scene. I'm thinking there's not enough titles, but I also there's something on TV that happened when Aldis and the other commissioner said, like, we've got a plan for the tag titles moving forward. And we're going to announce that. I think they are going to split them. And I think it is going to be.
That would be awesome.
But how do they feel? Are they going to do a tag team
scramble
or battle royal or something? Yeah. Is that what's going to be on the belt on the ladders in the belt?
Right.
It seems like New Catch Republic and DIY are both getting a push. And maybe that's I don't know, maybe that's for the vacated title, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've been needing, I mean, obviously, they've been needing to combine the tag belts for literal years now. Ever since they brought them together, it was like, they've needed to separate them. Yeah, or I guess, I mean, combine more like what they did where Roman just combined two belts into one and then they created a new one. But yeah, basically a Raw and a SmackDown tag team division that each have their own titles. Could be super interesting. And I think Mania is going to be Awesome Truth, and they're going to take out the Judgment Day. And then I think that if DIY wins the other set of belts, that would be awesome. Or we have DIY implode against Awesome Truth. Maybe R-Truth is, and then R-Truth gets this awesome story where it was like, the last two factions I was a part of imploded, so I'm going to start my own. And then like R-Truth starts like the New Oddities or something like that. That would be fun.
That would be something, man. Like Bronson Reed be the big man. The Oddities. Well, yeah. I think what you are revealing though is a need for creative writing, that something creative has to happen. Something right now they're in an era of high popularity again, where they're starting to see stadiums at capacity, and it can't just continue to be 30-minute Roman entrances and promos that are going to keep this era going. I don't think. It did. It felt that's another reason I was like, is WWE TV even worth watching? Because last week I watched The Rock and the Bloodline do probably the first hour of SmackDown, and it was like the most boring. No, the promo was great. I'm looking you right in the eyes, Roman, when I say this.
Acknowledge me.
You're not who we want to see for the first hour of the show. Make your way slowly to the ring and say very little, and then have The Rock compensate for your lack of charisma
with 40-minute promos.
Yeah, and you're just like, whoa.
Right. Well, I mean, to your point, though, I think, like, for example, I don't watch SmackDown because I can't get it where I'm at, but Raw, the main event of Raw was Cody Rhodes fighting against Paul Heyman and a bunch of jobbers who were pretending to be police officers. And then he sat a chair in the middle of the ring and said, "I'm coming for you." And that was it. Like, that was the most boring ending to a Raw I think I've seen in years. Years.
I listened to Busted Open, and Bully Ray had an incredible alternate story that they could have explored with that. And it was so much better. It was so much better. But he said at some point, Cody has to instill fear into Heyman. At some point, Cody has to be a credible threat. And he's not yet. He's not a credible threat to the bloodline. So they need to work hard on establishing the credibility of Cody's retribution versus it just being, who cares? This guy's a pushover. He's a baby face. He's so likable, but he's always going to he's always going to be the one that gets beat up. And if he ever wins, it's just going to be an accident. Like at some point we got to turn the corner and say, like, this guy's a credible threat. Watch out. Here I come. And I'm on. Don't you want to see Cody go off the rails the way they did in the Attitude Era, like with Kurt Angle driving a milk truck in the arena and hosing down the ring? Don't you want to see Cody go off the rails, to where it's like he's showing up in the hospital room and hitting, whoever with a bedpan, right? Like, think about
Mick whoever. That's my new name.
Whomever, he who cannot be named. Like, isn't it one of those things where you just go, hey, 20 years ago, the guy who was the perennial threat to the title would have done anything in his power to prove himself to be a worthy threat and an unpredictable force, and I think that's what they got to do. They got to have Cody just show up in an SUV with his family, with the dog, and just be like, take off the tie and just go head hunting for somebody on the bloodline and just embarrass them on screen.
What if Cody picked, like, we've got how many weeks? 3-4 weeks till Mania. What if every show,
a full month, 4 weeks.
Okay, what if every show or every week Cody said, this week Jimmy Uso?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the episode was Jimmy Uso running around hiding. And at the end of it, you saw Jimmy just like laid out. You don't even see the attack. You just see Jimmy Uso laid out in a pile of his own vomit, and he's just done. And then the next episode, Cody only like says 2 words. He just walks up to the camera and goes, Solo Sikoa, and walks off.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just walks off. And then the rest of that episode is Solo getting hunted down.
They need to turn
would be interesting.
Cody into a wolf. They need to turn him into a wolf that is hunting down the bloodline and going for a no mercy outcome with them. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to see. That should be the build to Mania.
I think so. I agree. I 100% agree. In the meantime, instead of getting direct, like straight to camera things, we're getting subtleties. And have you noticed, like, The Rock did for 2 weeks in a row this?
Give him the L for loser.
Yeah, instead of the ones. And this time Paul Heyman, like, they focused on him, and Paul like stared Rock's hand down, like, I know what's coming. I know what's gonna happen. Like, they're building that Rock is gonna turn on Roman at Mania with just one thumb. That's it. Just one.
You're saying this represents an angle of turn, a 90-degree angle?
Well, no, it's because originally he was like, his thumb was pointing at Roman. Whenever he's done that, it's always like instead of him pointing up, he's pointing. But one way or another, it's just, instead of The Rock conforming, The Rock is saying, I'm different. I stand out. I'm the one who doesn't fit in. And so like they're foreshadowing instead of building this deep, like,
interesting,
in your face lore of Cody. Yeah. So, but what if we could get both?
Yeah, think about 25 years ago, what happened when you saw that black pickup truck pull up backstage at Monday Night Raw, and Steve Austin in his hunting clothes got out of the truck, right? And you're like, oh man, it's going down tonight. He is going crazy. In the next hour, he's going to find somebody and he's going to shake them up, and it's going to be on. Right? That's what I miss.
Instead, Cody comes out and just adjusts his tie and stands there.
Yeah. I am a fancy boy. I am so fancy. Like, come on.
Wow.
Come on, don't
Right.
be Connecticut blue blood. You know, be
Connecticut blue blood Cody.
Yeah, you got a neck tattoo, bro. Like you gotta
Ugly one
unleash the
too.
fury. You gotta unleash the fury with that neck tat. Tattooed people are known to be a little unstable. You know what I'm saying? And face and neck tattoo people are known to be highly unstable. So unleash it. Be your true
Unleash
tattooed
the
self,
neck tattoo,
Cody, bro. Yeah. Anyway,
Cody Bromans.
wrap
No,
us
I
up.
agree. I think
I'm
we
sorry.
need to see something like this. I think
Yeah.
your booking is better, Rusty.
I just want to see Cody unhinged, man. Just let it fly. Go. The same guy who shattered the throne with a sledgehammer, right? Be that Cody.
Yeah.
Be Cody that's in the face of the opposition, unrelentingly offensive Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all for me.
Did he always wear a geek suit when he was in the other company too?
He did.
Or is that just since he came? Okay, never mind.
He did. He's always been a sharp dressed man. He's always been a businessman. I think he does that to show, you know, that he's got a big brain and that he's handsome and that he's elite, right? And but that he's like that he's the behind the, and I'm not down, you know, I just mean like behind the scenes, he's looking at the numbers, right? He's vice president material, right? He's COO guy. And I think he's still, you know, one thing they're missing on WWE TV is like his wife has never been introduced formally, properly, right? And neither is his daughter, and neither has his dog, right? So now we get this promo.
Neither has DDP.
Right? It was like, don't talk about my dog. Like, I know the dog's name, but like the fans don't. The fans inside this universe don't. They don't know what you think they know about you. My son doesn't know what I know about Indie Cody. He doesn't know any of those things. So you got to bring him into the WWE universe. They don't exist. It's like an improv stage, and you're referencing a skit that you did last weekend, but you haven't introduced it on stage tonight. You know, you got to reintroduce the characters that you're.
Interesting. I would agree. I have no clue who those people are either. I've never seen his wife in anything.
She's wonderful.
I've never seen his dog in anything, and I didn't know he had kids at all. So there you go. I mean, I'm not joking. Like I've seen pictures of his wife and him standing together. Other than that, I have no knowledge of her whatsoever, or the kid or the dog, but I would love to see a John Wick angle. What if my fantasy booking of Seth Rollins turning is that Seth Rollins stomps the dog?
Get out of here. No,
boom,
you can't.
And then Cody Rhodes goes John Wick on everyone.
In this age, no, you can't. You can't even allude to animal cruelty in any way. Like it just would not. It would be the wrong move. It would maybe in the Attitude Era, this day and age, there would be so many lawsuits. It would be of such bad taste. People would have the wrong backlash, and it wouldn't be a heel work. It would be like, we're getting X-Pac heat. We're mad.
But they made 4 John Wick movies out of that premise.
Terrible movies.
Oh, terrible. Good to know. I've never seen them, but I've heard that they're the best action movies of a generation. So
if you want to turn your brain off and watch 4 hours of shootout scenes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to like John Wick. I hated it. I just hated it. And I like Keanu, and I like The Matrix, and I like all that, but I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. I just didn't watch it. So mine's a omission, not a like intention. But what about LA Knight? Like, out of all of the things that have happened, I feel like LA Knight has lost biggest, because he's not even in the US title picture, the IC title picture, but he is still arguably one of the most fan favorite guys, period.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like who who do people care about still. Um, there's going to have to be some link to Cody. There's going to have to be a reestablishment of viability to LA Knight. Um, and I don't think it's going to come from his own heat with AJ Styles. Like that's not the build. That's not the rub. Maybe a feud with Logan Paul would be the thing that really helps him come back over, but it really feels like he's cooled off. And it really feels like the people that were excited about him a year ago, they still care, but they're not, it's just like, I don't know any other way to say it. Is just he's just kind of cooled off. He's lost. He's not main event material right now. And he should be. I would think but he's really slowed down. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but like, did he get in trouble, or is there a reason they've kind of pulled back on LA Knight? Have they figured out he's just not? Is he not selling the merchandise? Maybe.
Oh no, his merch numbers are big. I mean, I haven't looked at them recently, but I know that they're big. But I think the problem that they're running into is the fact that you called out they have so many top tier performers, and if Roman and Seth are going to sit on their titles and make them, stink like their booty, then everybody else just has to sit and wait. Like as soon as we get Roman out of the picture, I think Cody has a 3 to 4 month run, and then somebody else takes that belt. And dear Lord, please give Drew McIntyre the belt as soon as possible. But I do think, as much as I love Drew and as much as I love this character, I think 100% that Drew will be a transitional champion to Gunther. So then we get Gunther, and Gunther can hold the world title for a very long time. And the WWE title starts to not hot potato, but every few months there's somebody else in that picture. So LA Knight takes it, and then Cody bumps down to the bottom again and starts to work his way up. But then, maybe somebody else takes it from him. Who knows? Maybe they give main event Jay a shot. Maybe they do whatever, but they start to kind of build that out. And then you do have one title, Gunther's, that is just like, how are we going to get this off of him? And you've got one title where there's some rotation, there's some things. So
yeah, well, the U.S. title, I think is the way forward for LA Knight.
Yeah, it'd be nice, be a good start.
And I think you need to reestablish some credibility with the U.S. title. I think having it on Ray was okay. The U.S. title is what made Cena like a household name, right? The open challenge. It was the fighting champ. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. You wanted to see him defend that belt. You wanted to see him to have a big match every week. And that's what LA Knight could be. Open challenge, John Cena style, LA Knight, fighting champ. Let him shred him on the mic early in the show. Set that thing. And I think it's got to be allowed to be the main event on SmackDown. It's got to be given room that Roman has occupied for years.
Yeah.
It can't be a mid-card title anymore. And it can't be attached to an aging veteran that the fans aren't high on. It's got to be on the top merch guy. It's got to be on the weekly defender of it. And that would be great. That would be great to see LA Knight in that role. And until he cools off for real, let him do it. What else?
Yeah.
What else? But again, this is the question I asked you, Lee, at the beginning of this segment: is why should I watch WWE TV right now? Because does it even matter? And I'm hoping we can get to a yes, it matters again. This has been really boring WWE TV, which should be the most exciting episodes of the year leading up to Mania. and we're not getting that. We're not getting that.
Yep. Well, it's true. I mean, in hindsight, we'll all look back post WrestleMania and just go, "Oh my gosh, look at how great WrestleMania was."
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully
I think we
that's what
will.
we'll remember years from now. But while we're sitting in the slow, long process in between,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be like, what's going on? I mean, right now, the most interesting things to me are Drew McIntyre and Chad Gable, and that's it. Like, I mean, I'm not really interested in Logan Paul. I mean, aside from if he gets, I mean, if it's just him versus KO again, I don't know. I've kind of seen that. I don't know. If they keep building that, great.
I can't be
And
1-on-1. It can't. It's got to be. It's got to be like a 7-man match.
ooh,
It's got to be the
ooh,
title. The Intercontinental title cannot be taken cleanly away from Gunther. It has to be a match that puts him at a disadvantage and puts all of the talent that they've been teasing us with into a match. And a lot of guys almost win it and almost get there. And it sets them up for a run post Mania, right?
mm,
Like a Karrion Kross. How good for Karrion Kross would it be to almost win the IC title?
mm,
To have his hand on at the top of the ladder, to be unclipping the belt, right? And then be pulled down by the winner, Chad Gable. That would put Kross over as a credible threat, right? Or
mm.
Bobby Lashley. How good for the mid card, no one cares about Bobby Lashley's career would it be if at Mania Lashley has just power bombed Gunther and just stepped on his chest to walk across, to climb the ladder, to touch the belt, to almost undo it, to then have Dominic Mysterio knock him off, through a table and
Right. And take the
incapacitate him,
IC belt.
right? But I'm like that, but like you need a guy to get a push that propels him. It's almost like the gravity of space, right? You just give that shove and it puts them on the trajectory to keep soaring and going. And I think that's what we need. That's what we need. That's what DIY needs. They need to have the best showing of their career.
Right.
They need to have with the old black and gold magic on NXT. They need to have that at Mania against the New
Yeah.
Catch Republic in a match that is a 5-star match that highlights the best in-ring performances of their career, which previously were on NXT that no one has ever seen. So,
Well, I don't know if no one's ever seen it, but I've never seen it. I haven't watched
and you're
NXT, but
someone. So if you,
I'm
someone, has
someone.
never seen it, who's to think anyone else
I
has?
am
I'm just kidding. Well, take us out, Lee. I mean, I could go on forever about all this, and we will next week or tomorrow night on our stream on
right.
Twitch. Join us every
That's
Friday
right.
on Twitch for Lee and I's Friday Night SmackDown. I don't know. We don't have a great name for our show. If you've got a great name for our Friday night stream, put it in the comments on this video, or else Burpo will continue to write, let's talk about it on our so that's officially, that's the title of our show that we've been given. And we'd love to have a pitch for a better title at some point.
So last minute, hey, if you're still watching, go into the comments section and help us out there because we're loving it. And by the way, thank you for all the comments. We're getting a ton of them lately. We're trying to respond to some. We appreciate all of them, and hopefully you guys interact lovingly in the comments section because this is an awesome community. We're thankful to be your Champions Chat content creators, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.